Hello and welcome to the Skywarn Spotter Safety and Preparedness course. This course is meant to be a supplement to the National Weather Service Paducah, Kentucky's Skywarn course named Spotter Concepts 1 and 2. The first thing we're going to look at is how a spotter can help themselves gear up for an event by looking at specific National Weather Service forecasts, Storm Prediction Center forecasts, and understanding the difference between a watch and a warning. One of the easiest ways to obtain information regarding a severe weather event is simply by going to the National Weather Service Paducah, Kentucky website, weather.gov/PAH. This is the page that will come up. This is our home page. And there is a lot of information on this page, a lot of which I'll be sharing with you today. Some of the more notable features are the top news of the day articles here at the top of the page. Also, these tabs along the top above the map here. All of these links on the left-hand side can be explored, as well as a number of other products that we'll talk about here in a little bit. One of the easiest ways to obtain a forecast is by simply clicking on where you live on this map. This is something that I actually do every day to get myself in tune with the weather, figuring out what's going on. And you just click on a point on the map, and this page will show up here, and it will give you a detailed 7-day forecast, as well as any hazardous weather, advisories, watches, warnings that are in effect will be here in red. And you have your graphical forecast along the top here. In addition, there's other links here at the bottom. There are graphical forecasts down here on the bottom right-hand side of the page. There's hourly weather graphs, radar data, satellite data, links to the forecast discussion that we'll talk about here in a minute, current conditions for the observation site that is closest to the area that you clicked on, and you can get more history on past weather, 3-day histories, things of that nature. So again, with one click off of our home page, you can obtain quite a bit of information about the forecast for the next 7 days. One very useful product that a spotter may want to take a look at daily is something called the Hazardous Weather Outlook. On our home page, if you click on the word Outlooks here on the left-hand side, this is the page that will come up. And the very first link under the Severe Weather section is the latest local Hazardous Weather Outlook. The Hazardous Weather Outlook is issued by our office by 5 a.m. every single day and is updated periodically throughout the day as well, especially if there is ongoing weather. The Hazardous Weather Outlook is also broadcast on No Weather Radio and also provided obviously on our homepage, as I showed you in the previous slide. The Hazardous Weather Outlook is divvied up into a couple of different parts. There's the Day 1 Outlook, which basically is the next 24 hours. And in this first section, we talk about what are the hazards in the first 24 hours of the forecast. It could be snow, chances for severe weather, flooding, any kind of hazards that we are forecasting. We will go into some detail on what those hazards are. The second part is days 2 through 7, the rest of the 7-day forecast. What are the additional hazards for the rest of the 7-day forecast? Down here at the bottom is the spotter information statement. In this section, we will talk about when spotters may be activated or may be needed and what we're looking for. So that is kind of your cue to help you figure out when your activation may be needed within the 7-day period. Another tool that a spotter may wish to utilize is by reading the forecast discussion. Every single weather office across the country is required to write an area forecast discussion for the area that they serve. The forecast discussion can be found on the left-hand side menu of any National Weather Service website. Under the forecast section, the first link is labeled Forecast Discussion. If you click on that link, you will be directed to the latest forecast discussion. So here is an example of an area forecast discussion that was issued by our office back in January in 2014. And basically the area forecast discussion is mandatorily updated twice a day, once in the afternoon and once in the early morning hours. A lot of times the area forecast discussion will be updated on a need-be basis. And basically it's going to be put into two different parts. There's a short-term section and a long-term section, basically breaking up the 7-day forecast period. And essentially, this is us writing to you and telling everyone our thoughts on the forecast. What are the models? How are the models behaving? What is our next chance of precipitation? How much we're going to get? How severe it's going to get? Basically, a collection of our thoughts, our insights, our intuitions, what we think is going to happen, and why we think it's going to happen. Another thing that the forecast discussion can do for you as a spotter is give you an idea of our confidence level. If you read these every single day and get a feel for how we write them and the information that's provided within them, you should be able to parse out some of the intuition as to what we're thinking as far as how confident are we of that next severe weather event? How confident are we of the next winter storm? And a lot of times you'll see that change day to day to day leading up to an event. So that might help you kind of key in on what the potential is for severe weather. Another web page which you might find useful as a spotter is one of the first links on the left-hand menu called Watches and Warnings. And we'll go over what Watches and Warnings mean here in a minute. But essentially this page is going to be a nice one-stop shopping website that will list all the watches and the warnings for our forecast area. Here is a snapshot of what that Watches Warnings page will look like. Basically, you'll have a map here on the left-hand side, and this map will be color-coded with different colors, and those colors will be representative of a watch, a warning, an advisory, a statement. The legend here is here to the right of the map, so you know what colors mean what. Tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, and flash flood warnings will be listed here as they're issued underneath the radar and satellite page. There are other links down here at the bottom that may be of interest to you. Here's another spot where you can find the hazardous weather outlook. Another link that might be very useful to a spotter is this local storm reports link. Anytime a report is received into our office, it is immediately typed up and sent out through this local storm report product. So this is very useful for you as a spotter if you have incoming weather and want to see if the weather to your west or northwest or southwest is producing any severe weather. You can always click on local storm reports, and if we've received any information or any reports of severe weather, they will be listed under that local storm report. There are a number of different other sources that a spotter may utilize leading up to a severe weather event that might be useful. First of which is our social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. There are links for those three on the top left-hand side of the web page. Our multimedia briefing is available leading up to an event as well, and that is available on the last tab of this tab system here at the top of the page. Other items of interest, our weather story, which is updated every single day, and sometimes it's updated throughout the day as needed. Our short-term graphicast is also very valuable, especially with ongoing weather or weather that may be about to move into the area within the next 1 to 2 hours. It's a short-term type forecast, and that can be very useful as a spotter to know what is coming your way. Another website that would be very useful for a spotter is this banner. And this banner we will put up on our website during times of severe weather, winter weather, or flooding. And all you have to do is click on the link where it says click here, and you're taken to a very nice one-stop shopping website that should have everything you're going to need to be able to brief yourself on the ongoing situation. I just wanted to show you what that website looked like when you clicked on that link within that red banner. And again, it's just going to be a one-stop shopping website that's going to have all the information that you could possibly need in one spot, from satellite data to observations, SPC's data, graphical forecast, and You can scroll down even further on the page and get all the latest watches, warnings, advisories, all kinds of information. So as a spotter, I encourage you to check out that page when we're in the midst of severe weather. One of the websites that a spotter should become very familiar with is the Storm Prediction Center's website. The Storm Prediction Center is located in Norman, Oklahoma. It is part of the National Weather Service and is a major support center for all offices across the country. One of the main products that the Storm Prediction Center issues is the Convective Outlook. This is the Storm Prediction Center's website, and all of the products that you will be utilizing are going to be along the top portion of this map here. Convective Outlooks is going to be the second tab over, and when you click on Convective Outlooks, this page will come up and it will list all of the convective outlooks that are available. SPC, short for Storm Prediction Center, issues a day 1, a day 2, a day 3, and a days 4 through 8 outlook. And these are updated all of the time, and you can get a glimpse as to where the hotspots are across the country. For instance, in the day 1 on this example, there was a slight risk across portions of the central and southern plains. Now, the green areas indicate general thunderstorm risk, non-severe. And you could be under a slight risk, a moderate risk, or a high risk for severe weather. A slight risk would generally mean we have a strong system moving into the area, some severe weather may be possible with some large hail, damaging winds. If we're in a moderate risk, you can expect more widespread severe weather and maybe increase the severity of that event, meaning larger hail, more severe winds, more stronger tornadoes possibly. Whereas in a slight risk, you may be only looking at isolated tornadoes. If our area is under a high risk, which does not happen very often, may happen once or twice a year, whereas slight risks can happen multiple times during the year. But a high risk usually means there's a severe weather outbreak that is forecast for the area. And that is definitely something that a spotter is going to want to keep an eye on. So if you want to visit their website, it's down here listed on the bottom right-hand side of the page here. And I encourage you to take a look at the day 1, day 2, and day 3 outlook. And you can click on the maps on the website and they'll give you a detailed discussion on why they may be concerned with a certain area and why they put them under a slight, moderate, or high risk. Now we're going to talk about the difference between a watch and a warning and also discuss what a severe thunderstorm is. Spotters are going to need to know the difference between the watch and a warning as they are very different, and how you react to one is not the same as you react to another. When a tornado or a severe thunderstorm watch is issued, this means that conditions are favorable for the weather event in and close to the watch area. Tornado watches and severe thunderstorm watches are issued by the Storm Prediction Center. Watches can be rather large in size, covering parts of many different states at times, depending on the weather event. Watches are usually in effect from 6 to 8 hours, usually out ahead of the main system. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more, depends on the event. When a warning is issued, this is something completely different. A warning means that the weather event is imminent or is already occurring in the warned area. All of the warnings are issued by your local National Weather Service office. They are called storm-based warnings because we try to make them as small as possible, but still encompass the area that is basically under the threat for either severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning. Warnings can be in effect for about 30 to 45 minutes, up to but no longer than an hour. Now, a severe thunderstorm is not your ordinary thunderstorm. When we issue a severe thunderstorm warning, we're expecting one of two things to happen, or both. A severe thunderstorm, by definition, is a storm that produces hail that's 1 inch in diameter or larger, and or wind gusts to 58 miles per hour or stronger. So you may have a storm that is producing flooding and pea-sized hail that's 6 inches deep, but that is not what we define as a severe thunderstorm. Again, it has to meet either the hail criteria or the wind criteria to be considered severe.